The cat who loved to paint flowers. Once upon a time, in a cozy little town nestled between rolling green hills and sparkling blue lakes, there lived a most unusual cat. Her name was Pippa, and she was no ordinary feline. While other cats chased butterflies, napped in the sunshine, or prowled the gardens at dusk, Pippa had a special passion that set her apart. She loved to paint flowers. Pippa had a soft, silvery coat that shimmered in the sunlight, and her eyes sparkled like emeralds. But what truly made her remarkable was her boundless imagination. From the moment she first dipped her tiny paw into a puddle of spilled watercolor, she was hooked. The gentle swish of colors on paper, the way petals could bloom from a single stroke. These were wonders that filled her heart with joy. Every morning, as the sun peeked over the rooftops, Pippa would stretch, yawn, and scamper to her favorite spot by the window. There, she kept a box of paints, a set of brushes, and stacks of blank paper. She would watch the gardens outside, where daisies nodded in the breeze, tulips reached for the sky, and wild violets peeked through the grass. Sometimes, a hummingbird would flutter by, or a butterfly would pause on a bloom. Pippa watched it all, her whiskers twitching with excitement. Then, with careful pause, she would begin. She painted roses as red as ripe strawberries, sunflowers that glowed gold as the midday sun, and lilies as white as fresh fallen snow. She painted blossoms she saw in the garden, and flowers she imagined only in her dreams, ones with petals like rainbows, or centers that sparkled with starlight. Each painting was a little piece of Pippa's heart, blooming bright and beautiful on the paper. But Pippa's love for painting flowers was more than just a hobby. It was her way of sharing happiness with the world. Whenever she finished a painting, she would tuck it into a tiny envelope and slip it beneath the doors of her neighbors. Sometimes, she would leave a daisy painting for Mrs. Appleby, who missed her garden after moving to the city. Other times, she would create a field of poppies for old Mr. Jenkins, who loved to tell stories of his childhood in the countryside. At first, no one knew who was leaving the lovely flower paintings. The townspeople would find them on their doorsteps, on their windowsills, or even tucked into their mailboxes. Each painting was signed only with a tiny paw print. The pictures made everyone smile. People began to look forward to the surprises, and soon, the mystery artist became the talk of the town. One day, as Pippa was painting a bouquet of bluebells, she heard a gentle tapping at the window. It was Lucy, a little girl with a head full of curls and an infectious giggle. Lucy loved flowers almost as much as Pippa did, but she was allergic to pollen and couldn't play in the gardens like her friends. "Hello, Pippa," Lucy whispered through the glass. "I wish I could see the flowers up close." Pippa's heart fluttered with empathy. She knew just what to do. That afternoon, she painted the brightest, happiest bouquet she could imagine. Petals in every color, swirling leaves, and a sprinkle of shimmering dew. She left the painting on Lucy's windowsill, and when Lucy found it, her eyes lit up with delight. "Oh, it's perfect!" Lucy exclaimed. She hung the painting above her bed, so every morning when she woke, she saw a garden blooming just for her. Word spread about the magical cat who painted flowers. Children started leaving little gifts for Pippa. Shiny pebbles, soft ribbons, and even special brushes with bristles shaped like petals. The townspeople decided to do something special in return. One sunny afternoon, as Pippa sat by her window, she heard laughter and singing coming from the town square. She peeked outside and gasped in wonder. The entire square had been transformed into a festival of flowers. There were garlands of daisies, arches of roses, and lanterns shaped like tulips. In the center, an easel stood, holding one of Pippa's paintings, framed in gold. Everyone cheered when Pippa arrived. They crowned her with a wreath of wildflowers, and the mayor declared her the town's official flower painter. From that day on, Pippa's paintings were celebrated at every festival, and children learned to paint their own gardens of joy. But the real magic was the happiness Pippa spread. Her love of painting flowers brought neighbors together, brightened lonely days, and reminded everyone that beauty can bloom in the most unexpected places, even from the paws of a little cat with a big heart. And so, in the little town by the hills and lakes, Pippa continued to paint. She painted for her friends and for strangers, for the young and the old, for anyone who needed a little sunshine. Her paintings became a language of love, as bright and boundless as the gardens she dreamed. Every time a new flower bloomed in her imagination, Pippa smiled, dipped her brush, and let her heart bloom too. One petal, one painting, one act of kindness at a time. And that is how the cat who loved to paint flowers made her town a more beautiful place. Not just with colours and shapes, but with the magic of sharing and caring. And that magic, just like Pippa's paintings, will last forever. But Pippa's story does not end here, for every new season brought new inspirations, new friends, and new adventures in art. As the years rolled by, Pippa's garden of paintings grew, just like the real gardens outside her window. When spring arrived, the air filled with the scent of lilacs and apple blossoms. Pippa would wake early, her paws tingling with excitement. She painted delicate cherry blossoms floating on the breeze, and daffodils that danced in the sunlight. The townspeople loved her springtime paintings most of all, for they seemed to capture the very spirit of hope and new beginnings. During the lazy days of summer, when the gardens burst into colour and butterflies flitted from bloom to bloom, Pippa painted sunflowers with faces like the sun, zinnias in every shade, and trailing vines of morning glories. Sometimes she would invite her friends to paint with her. Children gathered around, their laughter echoing as they dipped their brushes and tried to paint the biggest, brightest blooms. Autumn brought a different kind of beauty. The leaves turned gold and crimson, and late-blooming asters and chrysanthemums filled the gardens. Pippa experimented with new colours, rich oranges, deep purples, and fiery reds. Her paintings of autumn flowers seemed to glow with warmth, like cosy fires on chilly evenings. In winter, when the world was blanketed in snow and most flowers slept beneath the earth, Pippa's paintings became a source of comfort. She painted poinsettias, holly berries, and delicate snowdrops peeking through the frost. Her winter paintings reminded everyone that even in the coldest times, beauty and hope could be found. Pippa's love for painting flowers inspired more than just happiness. It sparked creativity in others. Soon, her friends and neighbours began to paint too. They painted flowers on fences, on postcards, even on the sides of their houses. The town became a gallery, alive with colour and imagination. One day, a shy boy named Max found a painting of a blue iris tucked into his backpack. He had always been afraid to try new things, but Pippa's painting made him feel brave. He picked up a brush for the first time and discovered that he too could create something beautiful. His mother smiled as she watched him fill page after page with his own gardens of dreams. Another time, Mrs. Maple, the town librarian, found a painting of a bouquet of wildflowers between the pages of her favourite book. Inspired, she started a weekly art club at the library, where everyone could share their paintings and stories. The library walls soon bloomed with the artwork of children and grown-ups alike. Pippa's paintings even travelled far beyond the town. Visitors who came for the flower festival would take a painting home, sharing Pippa's magic with new friends in distant places. Letters began arriving, filled with thanks and stories from people who had found joy in Pippa's art. Through it all, Pippa remained humble and happy. She never painted for praise or fame. She painted because it made her heart sing. She believed that every flower, real or painted, had the power to brighten someone's day. Sometimes, Pippa would sit quietly in her window, watching the world go by. She would remember all the smiles her paintings had brought, and she would feel a warm glow inside. She knew that even the smallest act of kindness, a painting, a smile, a shared moment, could grow into something wonderful. And so, the cat who loved to paint flowers continued her gentle work, one brush stroke at a time. She painted gardens of joy, meadows of dreams, and bouquets of hope. Everywhere her art travelled, laughter and friendship blossomed. Dear child, perhaps you too have a special gift, a way to bring happiness to others. Maybe you love to paint, or sing, or tell stories. Maybe you are kind to your friends, or help someone in need. Like Pippa, you can make the world more beautiful, just by sharing what's in your heart. Remember, magic is not just in fairy tales or far-off lands. It lives in every act of kindness, every moment of creativity, every time you make someone smile. Just as Pippa's painted flowers brightened her town, your gifts can bring light and joy to those around you. So, close your eyes and imagine a field of flowers, painted with love, blooming in the heart of a little town. Imagine laughter and friendship growing, petal by petal, brushstroke by brushstroke. Imagine a world where everyone shares their unique gifts and every corner shines with happiness. This is the story of Pippa, the cat who loved to paint flowers. But it can also be your story, if you let your heart bloom and share its beauty with the world. And as the stars twinkle above and the moon smiles down, remember, the world is waiting for your colors, your kindness, your dreams. Like Pippa, you can paint a brighter tomorrow, one flower at a time. Good night, dear listener. May your dreams be filled with gardens of joy and the gentle magic of sharing, just like Pippa's. The end.